This summer projects to be this summer of the trade in the NBA. Why? Well, pretty simple. Nobody's got cap space except for the Brooklyn Nets, but they're not likely to spend it on any veterans out there. That means if teams want to improve, they're going to have to do it via trade. And we've got a couple of names already popping up in the market. Kevin Durant, really well known that he's going to be out there and available from the Phoenix Suns. But what about Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Milwaukee Bucks currently down 0-2 in the series against the Pacers? Could he be looking for a way out of Milwaukee? He said for a long time that as long as he can win with the Bucks, he'd like to stay, but clearly winning's going to be his priority. So let's dive into some of the options for these two stars. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. And right now, about 70% of you watching this are actually not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. This is what's going on with KD. Kevin Durant expected, according to Mark Stein, to potentially be pursued by, get this, the New York Knicks, as well as the Minnesota Timberwolves, to look on a potential Kevin Durant trade. Now, again, this is where the playoffs are going to matter in these situations. If a team bows out earlier than expected, that's going to put pressure on them to do something significant, and that could potentially lead to a team making a move for Kevin Durant. Again, we know the Phoenix Suns are going to move him. It's very clear. We know that's happening. The Suns, they have to shake up their roster. It was a no good, very bad, terrible season in Phoenix. And so they're going to be looking to shake things up. Kevin Durant moving, probably about the only thing they realistically can do, because they're not going to be able to move on from Bradley Beal. They're not going to be able to move on, or they're not going to want to move on from Devin Booker. Nobody else on the roster is really going to interest teams in a way that's going to cause them to give up anything significant or anything earth-shattering to go get them. So Kevin Durant, the very clear piece they're going to move. Maybe they should trade Devin Booker, but right now, that's not where the Phoenix Suns currently sit. So the Minnesota Timberwolves right now tied at one apiece against my Lakers in the first round. If the Minnesota Timberwolves bow out in round one, we know they were in hot pursuit of KD at the trade deadline. They could potentially be a landing spot. What about the New York Knicks? The Knicks right now tied at one each with the Detroit Pistons and heading back to Detroit. Not where I expected the Knicks to be. I thought the Pistons would cause some problems for the Knicks and would be a very tough opponent, but I thought the Knicks would win the first two games at home, then maybe drop like game 3 or something like that on the road in Detroit and ultimately finish it in 5 or 6. But now the Pistons, I thought they showed something in game 2 against the Knicks. So could we now see a situation where the Knicks maybe get bounced early? And if so, could they put together a trade package for Kevin Durant? What would that potentially look like? Remember, KD, $54.7 million next season, but then will be a free agent, so he can steer his destination to a degree. Now, the Knicks have plenty of salaries that they can put together in terms of draft capital. They've given up a lot of it already in the Mikal Bridges trade. What was that, 5 first-round picks? Good Lord. But what if the Knicks just say, hey, Suns, what do you think about getting Mikal Bridges back? What do you think about sending him back to the desert? They've got some interesting contracts they could potentially cobble together in some type of a trade for Kevin Durant. Not easy to do it without getting rid of any of the major pieces, though. When we look at OG Anunoby, obviously Jalen Brunson's not going to be touched there. Karl Anthony Towns, nope. But Bridges, Josh Hart, what about Mitchell Robinson, a $12.9 million expiring contract? They've got some salaries they could certainly put together. Minnesota, really tough for Minnesota to get there math-wise, but there will be incentive for them to do it if they bow out in round one. You look at the Wolves, you look at their salaries right now. Are the Suns going to be interested in Rudy Gobert? Probably not. It's tough to try to make it work for Minnesota. But again, there will be teams interested. But here's the one that I think is particularly fascinating. There it is. The Suns are looking for the Rockets to swing a deal for Durant, though previous reports suggest they're less likely to pursue a trade. You know what it feels like? It feels like the Rockets and the Suns right now kind of just going back and forth in the media war, where one side, oh yeah, the Rockets should totally trade for Kevin Durant, and then the other side, the Rockets saying, oh, no, we will not touch our young core to trade for Kevin Durant. Nope, not going to happen, because neither side wants to appear too eager, right? The Suns wanted to appear like there's a robust market for KD. The Rockets, they don't want to seem like they're desperate to get him, but I'll tell you this, right now, Houston down 0-1 in their series to Golden State, and if you watched game 1, Oh my God, that Rockets team is screaming for Kevin Durant. They need KD because they need anybody who can hit a shot in the half court. That was a glaring problem with the Rockets offense. They couldn't throw the ball into the ocean. Kevin Durant would solve so many problems for them just by being a guy who, even if the offense breaks down, you could throw the ball to KD and still get a decent percentage look. Certainly better than what Jalen Green was going to give you out there. Good Lord. Even Fred VanVleet was terrible. And the Rockets, not only do they have the salaries to potentially go make something like this work, when you look at the big expiring contract for Fred VanVleet, $44.8 million. Would that interest the Suns? Maybe. I mean, they also could stack together like Dylan Brooks. We know they're going to be looking for, the Suns will be looking for defensive players to put around Devin Booker. Dylan Brooks could potentially fit that bill on a declining contract. You've got, maybe you do give up. God, he was awful. Jalen Green. You've got young talent as well. Plus, this is the key, they have the Suns' future draft picks. So that could certainly matter here for Phoenix and for the Rockets as well. So that is still my favorite Kevin Durant destination, aside from like OKC bowing out early and we see a return for KD there. But the Rockets, to me, make a ton of sense. I know there's all this talk about the Rockets. They're going to wait for Devin Booker, and that's the play they're going to make. They're going to wait until the Suns finally give in. Maybe it's next summer after this one, when they're going to trade Devin Booker, and they're going to finally give in and trade him, and the Rockets will go all in on Book. I get it, but you can see how badly the Rockets need somebody who could score the basketball right now. By the way, also worth noting, not necessarily totally out of the question for the Rockets to wind up with a nice high draft pick. Look at this. They've got the Suns pick this year. If it stays chalk, it would go number 9, but they have a 17% chance at landing in the top 4. If it goes top 4, man, I'm not trading that thing for KD. I'm just keeping it and taking one of the young studs in this year's draft. But maybe there's something there too. Could that, even if it does stick at 9, would that maybe entice the Suns? Would that be enough? A couple of contracts in the 9th pick for KD? That makes a lot of sense to me, given how bad the Rockets have looked in the half court. All right, KD not the only one though. Take a look at this right now. The Bucks down 0-2. Doesn't feel the Pacers are a good, not great team. But the Bucks, they're just not on the same level as even the Indiana Pacers. So what are we doing, Milwaukee? What are we doing? This is a team that Giannis has said for years he will stay. He wants to stay in Milwaukee unless he feels like he can't win there. Well, you got to be pretty close to that, don't you? Don't you? I mean, at this point, it's been rough, and you look at what's happening with them year by year. They won an NBA championship, but that was 5 years ago now. They won an NBA championship 5 years ago. Then they lost in the East semis, lost in the first round. We'll see. Looks like they're on path right now to lose in the first round once again. Again, they're down 0-2. It's not over, but yikes. 3 first-round exits in a row. And you look at the roster that they've got, the aging roster. Who knows what they're going to do with Brook Lopez? Who knows how they're going to actually add talent? And then here's what Brian Windhorst added in about Giannis. Giannis has been awesome this season. He has been. He's clearly understood that they're challenged, and he has cut the BS out of his game, cut the fat out of his game, and tried to do everything. I don't think Giannis has any fat on him at all, but tried to do everything he can to carry this team, and they're just not good enough. No, they're not. And what is he supposed to do? This is the elephant in the room in the league right now. The team is losing tens of millions of dollars. So in other words, the Bucks aren't going to want to sacrifice a bunch more money to add to this team, but Brook Lopez is becoming a free agent. They've got second apron issues. At some point, Giannis, who is 30 years old, is going to say, no more. He's going to say, I want out. And maybe we're simply at that point. Now, he still has 3 years under contract with a player option on the last year, and you've got Damian Lillard as well. If you're going to do this, if Giannis says I'm done, trade Dame too. Trade Dame and start a proper rebuild. Milwaukee, that's really what they need to do if Giannis says I want out. As far as who would be interested, look, if Giannis 3 years in a row, first round exits, looks like that's what we're heading towards. If Giannis says I can't win with this team, who would be interested? Everyone. Right? Just about everybody's going to be interested. in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Brooklyn Nets, already a team that is being mentioned. So we talk about Brooklyn having cap space. Are they going after veterans? Probably not, unless, what if it's Giannis? What if Giannis is surprisingly available? Could Brooklyn, with their $92 million in cap space, that means they don't have to worry about salary matching, could they stack together some young players, a bunch of draft capital, go get Giannis, still have spending power, be a player in free agency, and off you go? That is the dream scenario for the Brooklyn Nets right now, to go land Giannis Antetokounmpo. Will Giannis actually ask out? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, 3 first-round exits in a row sure would send the message that this team simply can't win in the East right now. But like I said, this is going to be the summer of the trade. This is going to be the summer of the trade. We're going to see teams making improvements on the trade market. I think that's setting us up for a very exciting offseason around the NBA. Of course, the playoffs have been excellent. We've got some great series going on, and we will continue to touch upon those. But some important stuff already kind of brewing here as we're seeing the way the first round is playing out, because those teams that fall short, they are going to be extra motivated to make moves, and that could very much shift the summer trade market. Make sure you guys do subscribe right here to the channel. We're going to keep you up to date on everything heading into the summer, the trade market, the playoffs, the NBA draft, everything in between. So hit that subscribe button. Until next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.